And we are live. Hey, folks, what's up? Happy Saturday. It is a very comfortable day outside, actually, with a not too bright and comfortable overall environment. Oh, where did y'all come from? I stressed a little bit. The sun came out. Anyhow, we finally got Spirit Ford's booster box from the lotto is finally in my hands in front of me right now. You can hear it. You can hear me drumming away. I'm about to ruin its market value by tearing off the wrapper and then turning up all the boosters. And then we'll see if we drew anything good. Now, I do have plans for a deck. Asu, what's up? I do have plans for a deck that I've been building. I've been to the pre-Rift events, multiples of them, including the release event. So I actually have a pretty decent card pool of the rares so far, but nothing of the epics, except for the Fiora starter deck that I got, which has a surprising amount of value. Mostly because it already includes Fiora's signature spell, along with her Chase champion, the yellow one, that lets things that turn mighty ready themselves that turn and just swing away. It's really freaking nice. I have some ideas for how to make a really competitive deck out of that. And the stats for that seems to be in place as well. In fact, Bologna tournament is happening right now. It's happening right now. I think Bologna was in, I want to say Spain. Let me double check. I do not know my European cities nearly as well as I probably should. Let me double check. Bologna region. This is Bologna is in. I want to say it's Spain. Yes. Yeah, man. Where the hell is Bologna? Riftbound, Ice on Bologna. Riftbound Europe. $6,000 to the first place player, which is nice. Overall card pool is prize pool is $25,000 plus the cards, of course. Best Surprising is also on the way. Honestly, Best Surprising can really make or break the whether or not your time at a tournament is worth it. Bologna travel guide. Okay, where the hell is Bologna? Italy, not Spain, Italy. But it was, in fact, a romantic language. So, yeah, it is what it is. They actually have a whole ass guide for Bologna, including like what kind of electrical plugs you need, which is really nice. The money is all obviously euros. That's easy enough to handle. They have like breakdowns of the travel situation by plane or by car, public transportation, what to expect for taxis. They did a really good job on this guide, actually. This is really, really nice. And of course, it's Italy, so it's Italian food. God, I could use some Italian. Actually, no, I had some high protein, low carb pasta earlier today. And how do you make high protein, low carb pasta, you might ask? You use tofu, specifically tofu skin noodles. Yeah, you take that dry tofu skin and you slice it into like thin noodle-sized slivers, and then you just mix that right to the sauce. It actually works really, really well. A lot better than shirataki noodles. I will tell you right here and now. Shirataki noodles tends to be made with a cognac jelly, which is like pure fiber, right? And it squeaks when you bite into it, which is, I don't like that. Like, you can improve the texture a lot for cognac noodles specifically by rinsing them down with some cold water and then dry firing them on the pan on like medium heat, and that will evaporate some of the water content from the noodles so that they're a little, they have a slightly better mouthfeel, and then just mix it into the sauce. But no matter how you treat them, and you definitely need to treat them, because if you just get them out of the package, they smell like sea brine, which is awful. You have to wash it down first. But no matter how you treat them, they're going to taste a little rubbery. And tofu noodles do have a bit of a slightly rubbery bite to them, but they've largely solved the texture problem, and they up your protein because tofu is pure freaking soy protein. So that's good. It was actually a pretty decent lunch. But yeah, I've been following a little bit of what's been going on Bologna so far. The usual decks that are winning, but the actual breakdown of the decks is actually pretty interesting because although Draven and Kaisa are the top represented decks at the event, we're talking about a breakdown of 50% Dravens, 11% Kaisas, and 9% Aurelius. So actually, the top 3 decks take up about 1/3 of the meta, which is pretty overall healthy. After them is Miracle Ezreal at 5% of the scene, 5% Annie. Annie previously won a Chinese regional, I believe. To the consternation of everybody, because it seemed as if she should have a worse time against Draven, but she actually has a decent matchup against some others. But following Annie is actually Ahri, and I can't believe I'm seeing Ahri above Victor and Sivir, or Rek'Sai even, or Azir, which we know has a very, very powerful game in the current situation. But Ahri is all about holding territory. I'm not actually sure how she's getting around, like, well, maybe not. Probably because Ahri does have access, has access to Thousand Tail Watcher as her finisher. She's probably in a position where she can just like charm Draven into bad positions or charm him out of winning positions, and then use her own suit of buffs and debuffs to get around combat. I think, now that I actually think about it a little more, as long as she's not ranked green already, that might actually work. It might be okay. It's not the best. I'd say I would be surprised to see Ahri win, or even top 8, but she does feel like a top 32 deck. There are a lot of situations where she can play through. I am, however, happy to see Jinx, and I am surprised to see Fiora and Lucian as low as they are. Especially Fiora, which I know has a build specifically tailored to counter Draven. It has an iffy performance against Aurelia specifically, but Beta Hook Fiora should be very, very hard for Draven specifically to get those extra points in. Like, we're talking about a situation where she can easily pump up her stuff to such a degree that even Aurelia is going to have a hard time like fighting it one-on-one, right? And Aurelia is all about building tall, like making one unit super powerful, moving around to take care of those 3 points, including running purple Draven and Aurelia. Draven's just everywhere. But if you can send out something to temporarily hold a spot, give you the point, and then bait hook it out to replace it with an equivalent power creature or something even more powerful, slapping into your base and pass turn, then Draven doesn't have a window of opportunity to take the extra point. If you happen to bait a hook into the like 7-8 cost yellow dragon that kills something right on the spot as soon as it is played, then you've probably taken out their strongest thing and they can't even attack into it. It's really, really nice. It's a nice way to just cycle through the whole deck again and again and keep possession of the overall tempo and pace of the game. And the fact that you can't hold areas to score points is kind of whatever. You still get a tremendous amount of battle value by sacrificing weak shit to get bigger shit out, and then just get 8 points that way, because you can always just conquer both territories. And that works. That works really well. Especially it works really well with Yellow Fiora from Spiritforge, which if you kill something at the battlefield you've just taken to bait hook something even bigger out, it'll probably come out ready to fight for that second territory, allowing you to get 0.8 fairly trivially. It honestly should work really, really solidly. It's just that bait hook by design is a gambling sort of deck, right? Just because you design your deck to take advantage of the mechanic doesn't mean you want occasionally whiff and draw no creatures whatsoever, and therefore you just killed something that could have taken the spot and held it for extra points and drew nothing at all for your time and effort. Oops. Now there are a couple ways think that you can get away with that though, because if you bait and hook something with Sacred Shears attached, then you at least get a card draw, right? At the very worst, you'll get the card draw and cycle through your deck more to get whatever you need next. So, I don't know. I do feel that it doesn't do too well against other potential decks, though. I don't like Aurelia matchup in particular. Given that Aurelia can get naturally very, very big with purple effects. And then you can just send her right into she can move out of the way from fights or move extra stuff into fights to neutralize Orange Fiora's ability to double her might if it's a one-on-one. Like getting that particular situation down, it's a little tricky. But anyhow, in the end though, Fiora does specifically have a counter to Aurelia and to any deck that really has any nasty tricks, and that's to riposte. Good old parry mechanics. Yeah. Pay like one energy and 2 power, and you counter their spell, and the cost of their spell becomes a bonus might to your character, and therefore their attempt to wipe out your battlefield just made you even harder to remove. That's great. I love Riposte. Riposte is powerful as hell. Might even be a little too powerful. I'm actually wondering why there aren't actually more Fiora decks when that is single-handedly one of the best cards in the game. Period. As well, she also has access to Punch First, which is to pay 1 mana, 2 might, and 2 power, and you give something on your side a whopping +5 for 2 resources, which is way above curve. Super above curve. In combat, it's hard to beat Orange, as designed. In straight up combat, they're designed to dominate. And then we have Fiora's bag of tricks and her overall synergy, which I think is really underappreciated in the current meta. We'll see how the Bologna meta shifts out and sells out rather, and see which decks actually come on top. I do especially like the fact that if you don't want to play the top meta decks, you can still profit off of playing professional Riftbound simply by being the best representative of your legend. Even if it's Garen, was still by far the worst legend they have printed in the meta thus far. But you know how many Garens are wandering around Italy right now? There are, according to this, 15 Garen players, along with 19 Lee Sens and 20 Leonas. You actually have to be better than 15 other Garen players to grab the Steel Garen card. But if you do, that's a solid few $100s in your pocket right there and then. Along, of course, with buying the actual Garen card, metal card from playing the side events. There have been some complaints about how gameable the side events are. What you can do is sign up with 8 buddies and guarantee that you get enough points to grab the metal card, and then you can just split the profits because you'll probably be worth a few $1,000s, right? Great, everybody made a few hundred just by taking over an event. Of course, that's easily solved. All you have to do is just have everybody sign up into a pool, randomize the pool, and they'll be facing every other group of 8 that's trying to get the metal card as well. And then suddenly everybody has to fight normally because the incentive to collaborate is completely gone that way. And that's great. To be quite frank, Riftbound still has a couple of rough edges. The ruling for how Lucian's signature spell works is incredibly stupid, and honestly has to have been decided by somebody that wasn't actually fluent in English. There's just no way you can actually read what's actually written. It says that this card means that you must have the equipment on the field, despite the fact that it says you may equip an equipment with no qualifier on whether or not the equipment has to exist on the card itself. That's just incredibly stupid. I think the judges are on something. But if it's the Bologna, this is like a ruling for Bologna by the Bologna judge. It might just be a quirk of the Italian to English translation. It definitely should. It definitely shouldn't work like that if it was Chinese. Like, Chinese. I can't think of any way the Chinese would be translated in such a way to encourage that kind of interpretation, unless the Chinese actually says that you have to move him somewhere where there's the equipment. That doesn't make sense. But yeah. So quirks with the rules text and judge implementations, I think that should really be better handled as currently. Organized play still has some wrinkles to smooth out. I made a whole extensive review of the pre-Rift experience off on Riot TCG, where I've been working with a friend to make some more Riftbound content. I should probably work on another script soon, after we get some Nexus Knight experience. Probably later tonight, actually. We're still deciding on whether or not we have enough to make the decks we want to play with. I should be pretty close. But yeah, that's the meat chat. That's been like 30 minutes worth of blabbing now. We should actually start ripping up these boosters. So let's go ahead and move me down to the corner over here. Hi, folks. There we go. And open this up! Yay! Anyhow, now to severely reduce its resale value, I turn it off the plastic. Oh, that came off really easily. Start peeling in separately from the actual scissors. Yes, one authentic box of Spirit Forge boosters with the official quality seal over here to guarantee that it's from Papa Riot and not actual counterfeits. Now, technically, you can probably get a cheaper box of the Chinese version because now those are both legal. They have changed the ruling that to account for the fact that most people are playing with sleeves, especially in competitive play. So as long as you're sleeving up all your cards, then it should be fine now. But yeah, just like how Ari was the only character on all of the boosters with Origins, Aurelia is the only character on all of the boosters for Spirit Forge. I kind of don't like it that way. I kind of wish that they were like mix it up a little bit, just for the sake of like, if you do want to like save on your collection, you can have a whole spread and look better than having all of one character. And also like, it's a little lazy. They should be really like showing off all the possible champions you can get, rather than just one highlight champion. I have been trying to look for more product elsewhere as well, especially if for MSRP if I get it. I've not had any success whatsoever with Target or Walmart, but it could be because I feel like there are a lot of other players in the local area and they're beating me to it. Unfortunate. They're also beating me to all the One Piece products, but I'm not playing One Piece anymore. Anyhow, very first booster. Let's see what we got. We got a Navori Scout, an Aspiring Engineer, a Detonate, a Loyal Pup, Bonds of Strength, which is pretty good actually. Punch First, which is the best card combat trick you can have in orange. Called Shot, which is the best card draw you can have in purple. Recurve Bow, which nobody's currently playing. Power Nexus, which is kind of fun. And Ancient Warmonger, which is surprisingly good. Have assault equal to the number of enemy units here. It has been surprisingly powerful with the decks I think. A Foil Zon Punk, which is really nice. And an Akshan, which is also okay. Oh, hey, look! Speaking of Fiora, we got another yellow Fiora. I don't need more yellow Fioras. I think I have a whole playset now. Goddamn, already. Hell yeah. Yeah, also the complimentary rune. Let me see if I can't. Yeah, that actually looks a little better. Okay, so we have the Fiora over here. Oh, we should also make sure we sleeve up the epics. How nice. I do, however, play more than one Fiora though, so especially the yellow one, because I like a little more consistency in my deck, you know. Even if I play her on curve from the champion slot, she becomes the priority target for any kill spell. So having a backup and having ways to recur her feels pretty important actually, because here, like let's read over the ability. Like this says, when the unit you control becomes mighty, you may pay a yellow power to Radiant. a unit's mighty while it has 5+ power. And the ability to turn a big old stat stick to give haste to a big old stat stick effectively is, of course, really, really powerful when you want to take stuff now. Yeah, Bushwhack, Disarming Rake, Cloth Armor, Eye of the Herald, which is really good with Azir, Yordo Explorer, Overzealous Fan is underrated, I think. It's a nice combat trick. Honest Broker, Beast Below, Production Surge, Not So Fast, good counterspell, Void Drone, which is really good for Rek'Sai decks, Steric's Gauge, not bad, and of course Renata Can Baroness. I already have this. It's kind of crap, to be honest. I haven't quite figured out a way to make. I feel like Renata has a Lux problem where you can see the potential if there are enough cards to take advantage of her ability, but are there enough cards to take advantage of her ability? And the answer currently is no. The best you can do is get a fast Time War Battle for her. Doran's Shield, Frostcoat Cub, Armed Assailant, another Honest Broker, Combat Chef, Doran's Ring, Guards, Brutalizer, Warmog's Armor, Rocket Barrage, a Foil Harpoon Squad, a Rel, and a J Medarda. We choose me with a spell, draw 1. Basically always has 3 new tree effects. 5/4/5 with 2 power and all you do is draw spells. That's not great. That's not very playable. It's a bit of a too much of a slow roll for how much it costs to get out. Armed Assailant, Guardian of the Passage, Frigid Touch, nice combat trick, Dire Wing. You get closer and closer to a Brian Kibler Dragon deck with every single set. Doran's Ring, Laurent Duelist, Veteran Poro, Forge of the Fluffed, which is a really funny card, Void Hatchling, which is mostly good with Rek'Sai, another Foil Harpoon Squad, a Foil Beast Below, a Fizz, which is definitely a value card. This is a very expensive card. Ooh, and a Sivir. Hey, that was a good pack. Not bad, not bad. We got a Chase Rare and a powerful Epic. We're upside down. Sivir is when at conquer after an attack, if you assign 5 or more excess damage to enemy units, you may deal that much to an enemy unit. Basically, if you swung big, or they have a weak point, it ricochets and kills something else. And then Fizz, when you play me, you may play a spell further trash with energy cost no more than 3, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle that spell after you play it, you must still pay its power cost. Basically, it is a Snapcaster Mage. If you play Magic, you know that shit's good. Thwonk, which for green spells is really, really good. Plundering Poro is my favorite Poro. Against the odds, give a friendly unit at battlefield +2 this turn. For each enemy unit there is a very, very powerful buff. Disarming Rake, Veteran Poro, Fade Porter, which has been surprisingly useful actually. Zonpunk, Hall of Legends, BF Sword, the Paper Tree, a Foil Sentinel Adept, a Foil Bard, a Battle Mistress, hey, how nice, and a mech token, yay. I was missing Battle Mistress, I did not have that as a legend. Regular Sentinel Adept. Here, hold on, I know I can fix the camera issue, right? Where is the There we go. That's better. Much better. Okay, Ballad Sharp. Yeah. Regular Sentinel Adept, Royal Entourage, Plundering Poro, Blood Rush, very, very nice. Temptation, Sand Shifter, Dauntless Vanguard is surprisingly good. Emperor's Divide, excellent card. Minefield, which is the best Jinx battlefield you can possibly hope for. Yawlfish, it costs 2 less for each of your mighty units. It's only okay, sort of okay in actual practice. Foil Royal Entourage, a Hex Tech Anomaly. You actually pay any amount of power to add that much energy. This is a potential blowout card in the right situation, but it's hard to find the situation. Foil Lucian, how nice. And a mech. Honestly, Lucian's a good card. I was trying him in my Fiora deck for a while, and he's okay. But given that a lot of my equipment are just +1, getting him to the to the 5 might threshold has been surprisingly difficult. So Wages of Pain, you have to use the right equipment setup, and it's just kind of tough sometimes. Void Drone, Dorant Shield, Gearhead. By the way, funny thing about Gearhead, there's a card called Spellsonger that doubles the text on your character, right? And you would think that would work really well with Gearhead. Each equipment attached to me gives double its base might bonus, but that doesn't stack because it just says it gives double its base might bonus twice, but it doesn't add to each other. So it's just it checks the equipment twice and then gives you that finished value. Sea Monkey, Treasure Hunter. When I move, play a Goat Gear token exhausted. That's actually really, really good with some gear focused decks. Laurent Duelist, Sudden Storm, deal 2 damage to your unit. If it's attacked, deal 4 to it instead. That's not bad actually. Unsung Hero is at the core for a lot of baited hook decks. Strike Down is good for Lucian. Aphelios, Emo Boy. When you attach equipment to me, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Raid 2 runes, channel 1 rune exhausted, or buff a friendly units. The problem is he doesn't have Weapon Master. So you need to give him Weapon Master somehow, and then he becomes really, really good. But because he doesn't actually have it by default, it's actually not great. Piercing Light is the new best burn spell in the game. Deal 2 damage to your unit on battlefield and do 2 to up to 1 other unit, and you can repeat it. So it's deal up to potentially 8 damage over the course of a single turn to 2 different units, which, you know, is nice. Ooh, in the danger zone. Now, Rumble decks currently aren't great. According to Bologna stats, they are like the bottom 5 position at the moment. But I kind of get the feeling that's only because the attempts at making a Rumble deck are either just victims of a poor meta, because you can't really do much creature-based holding play with Draven running around, or that people are approaching from the wrong angle. Because there are a couple cards I think that make Rumble decks especially really good. Skyfall of Aeron, for example, mixed with a blue Rumble means that if you conquer or hold a territory, you're getting free units for just like playing normally. And then there are all those units on mechs, which synergizes with mech tribal themed effects, including Danger Zone, which reads, give your mechs +1 this turn, and you can repeat it as a reaction. And the more mechs you have, the better. So make mechs. Next we have Wages of Pain, Sentinel Adept, Thwonk, Treasure Hunter, Eminent Benefactor, ooh, nice, Doran's Blade, Black Market Broker, Factory Recall, Breakneck Mech. Your mechs have effect and ganking. I enter ready if you control another mech. This is basically the top end for Rumble decks. Unsung Hero, Mechanized Menace, nice. Assembly Rig, recycle unit from your trash. Play a 3 might mech unit token to your base. I think this is also pretty good for Rumbles in general because like you're going to go through a lot of cards. You might as well turn them into more mechs. Oh! And we got our first over number. Purifier Lucian. Oh, hell yes! We're just a few packs in. Your equipment each gives assault. Hell yes. Lucian also theoretically has a really good time against Raven matchups. Because Lucian himself, like, if you conquer Iridius Lucian, allowing you to peel back from the fight, making sure that you're not risking a double up effect from Draven. That should actually work pretty well. And just like Draven, he has burn effects. Eager Drakehound, Navori Scout, Chemtech Cask, Doran's Blade, Temptation, Eminent Benefactor, Dauntless Vanguard, Portal Snacks. I wish Portal Snacks actually buffed portals when you eat them. Veiled Temple, which by the way goes really well with Lucian. Rockfall Path, Foil Drag Under, which is really nice. Sacred Shears, I definitely needed that in a Jace. Let me sleeve those Sacred Shears up. One of the best yellow equipment in the game. It's a nice, simple utility effect. It doesn't give you all that many stats, but it's relatively cheap for the +1 effect, and the Death Knell draw 1 is just always good. It means that you always have a replacement if your creature dies. Card Advantage, you know? It's a card game. Card Advantage is good. Doran's Shield, Chemtech Cask, Eager Drakehound, Lonely Poro. Now, in the original Legends of Runeterra card game, if you have something join Lonely Poro, it loses the loneliness. And it becomes a cute dude that's chasing a little butterfly because it's springtime for him. Now, the fact that there's no such thing for this little dude, and instead he has Death Knell, if I die alone, draw 1, is tragedy. This dude needs a friend. Master Mingwen, Bonds of Strength, Doran's Blade, Drop Border, Drag Under, Treasure Hoard, Foil Fey Dragon, Foil Rek'Sai, speaking of Rek'Sai, Void Borrower, and a Chaos. We have another Blood Rush, a Desert's Call, another Plundering Poro, another Bonds of Strength, a Darrowing, Called Shot, Guards, Cull, Raven Blue Conservatory, Portal Snacks, a Foil Stellacorn Herder rather, Needlessly Large Yordo, and a Red Draven, which is not bad. Oh, actually, no, the Red Draven is really good. Oh, it's alt art. Oh, hell yes. I forgot. This is the Ruined Draven. Here we are. When combat, play a gold gear token exhausted. When attack or defend, you may pay red. If you do, give you +2 might this turn. It's just really, really hard to budge Dravens, as long as they have runes. So nice. Now, granted, the Red Draven is good and is used in Draven decks because it's so hard to kill, but the chase is the Purple Draven, which I already have 2 of, actually. So if I wanted to make a Draven deck, it might not be impossible. In fact, I'm pretty sure my friend has the necessary cards other than the Spiritforge stuff. Cloth Armor, Gem Jammer, Guardian of the Passage, Bubblebot, Corrupt Enforcer, Royal Guard, Combat Chef, Perched Grimworm, Pickpocket, Apprentice Smith, Foil Forecaster, And the regular Draven this time. Oh, and a switcheroo. Nice. Switcheroos are big. Switcheroos basically means you win fights you should have lost. Start the mice of 2 units at the same battlefield this turn. So if all you have is a little dork, if they have like a 10 mite creature, a 10 mite creature is not a dork. If your dork is the 10 mite. That's nasty. That's mean. Switcheroo is a really, really good card. It actually makes it so that in situations where you might not have been able to hold, you're almost guaranteed to do so. Another Sentinel Adept, Desert's Call, Tempted Cask, Treasure Hunter. It does feel like I have a full set of the basics now. Trusty Ramhound, Buru Captain, Called Shot, Forgotten Monument, ooh, Windsinger. When you return another unit at a battlefield with 3 might or less to its owner's hand, especially if you're playing Ezreal, you can force them to have less might, so that's really, really good. Ruin Runner, I can't be chosen by enemies, spells, or abilities. It's an underappreciated effect. It's actually really, really strong. Another Yone, I already have so many of these from the promos, and an Under Titan. And a Downwell. Return all units and gears to their opponent's hand. Oh, that's not bad. And a treasure token, hell yeah. Downwell lets you reset the fight. Against the right deck, that's a kick in the teeth. So, focus on what we have at the moment. This is definitely the spiciest of the stuff I've drawn, but also we have the alt art for Draven, and Fiora's a nice touch. So far, this box has been pretty good for me. Not bad, not bad. I think the over-numbered Draven, Lucian is probably like, I want to say $80 at the moment. I want to double check later. Void Drone, the Void Scout, Frostco Cub, Against the Odds, Combat Chef, Fae Porter, Laurent Duelist, Experimental Hexblade makes everything max, Glask Mixologist, Veiled Temple, Combat Chef foil version, a Prodigal Explorer Ezreal. Oh, and a blue Ornn, that's nice. I already have copies of it because I had a really good pre-Rift event with blue Ornn specifically. But that's just a really, really good card. It encourages you to play Tron because it just makes him so big. Because like Seville Songer on blue Ornn especially gives him Deflect 4, which if you have to give up four runes just to target Ornn and possibly have him still survive because your opponent still had mana up, that's bad news bears for you. Lonely Polaro, Forecaster, Gem Jammer, Sea Monkey, Temptation, Trusty Ramhound, Dauntless Vanguard, Angle Shot is a nice tricky play, Temporal Portal is pretty fun, Rockfall Path, Overzealous Fan, that's a foil version, isn't it? Yes, it is. A Soraka, a Svelsonger, speaking of which. That actually might be my favorite green equipment. This is just so fun. By itself, it does nothing. In combination with some other stuff, it does some silly ass shit. As this is attached to a unit, copy that unit's text to equipment's effect text for as long as it's attached to it. And then blue Ornn reads, Deflect 2, Weapon Master, I have +1 for each friendly gear. So actually with Svelsonger, he already gets +2 plus Deflect 4. And he still has Weapon Master as well. But Weapon Master doesn't really trigger once you attach Svelsonger to him. But it's a nice combo. It is in fact the core of the Ornn deck. Everything just becomes a matter of supporting Ornn as much as possible. Next, we have Void Drone. Ribbon Dancer, which is really nice for Aurelia decks. Forecaster, although I think mainstream Aurelia tournament Aurelia decks don't play it because you don't really have the slots for it. You're mostly playing counter spells, movement spells, and then equipment for Aurelia. Oh no, just movement stuff for Aurelia, really. Zonpunk, Yordle Explorer, Corrupt Enforcer, Sand Shifter, Death Grip, Emperor's Dais, Blast Corpse Cadet, a foil Yordle Explorer, a Grandmaster at Arms, a Heart of Dark Ice, which is critical for Aurelia decks, giving you a +3 Midas turn, and then you trigger Aurelia's effects, and then cards. Federal Strength, which has been really nice to play and not so nice to play against. Wages of Pain, Serrated Dirk, Corrupt Enforcer, Eye of the Herald, Laurent Blade Keeper, Loyal Pup, Legion Quartermaster, Boots of Swiftness is really, really nice. Show of Strength, Eminent Benefactor in foil, Rengar in foil, and Age of Night in foil. Both of these are really good. Especially if you're playing Draven. Cloth Armor, Serrated Dirk, Guardian of the Passage, Punch First, Doran's Ring, Zonpunk, Veteran Poro. Hi, Zach. Not gonna keep it up. Slughorn Hunter, Herder, Hex Drinker, Heber Tree, Foil Frigid Touch. Ooh, and a World Atlas. Nice. Make it. Oh, yeah, Spirit Wheel. I haven't had one of those. And a Chaos Rune. Hey, this is a nice pack. Like the individual cards themselves, the rares are just sort of whatever. They're nice to have. But this is a pretty looking Chaos Rune. Look at the texturing on that shit. Yeah. Hell yeah. Spirit Wheel is good in Aurelia. It's just that Aurelia's lists are really tight at the moment, right? There's not a lot of wiggle room to improve upon her at the moment. I did experiment a little bit with it myself. The main problem is just that it's a little slow. It's a little slow for what you want to do. Go ahead and sleep this up. The Chaos Rune in particular, I really like the gold lettering to accompany the texture background. Yeah. Card drawing is of course incredibly strong, but playing Spirit Wheel generally means that you are choosing to not play something with more board presence, and Slughorn Herder does much of the same. World Atlas is really, really strong, especially if you're playing Ari, I believe. But World Atlas with Ornn in particular is incredibly strong, because Ornn's Blue-Ornn's check on gear doesn't just include the equipment attached to him. It also includes the gold on the board. So the more gold you make, the stronger Ornn gets. It just gets crazier and crazier. Thwonk, Bubblebot, Detonate, Desert's Call, Guards, Punch First, Bay Porter, Vanguard Armory did not win me nearly as many games as I thought it would when I was playing Pre-Rift. Ornn's Forge, which is probably going to be in at least one of my decks. Hey, look, a regular purifier to go with my super purifier. Where is it? Where are you? There we go. I definitely like the overnumber version of this one, especially with the foiled texture on that. He looks like he's speeding across the battlefield. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, I have both versions. A Janna. Oh hey, Forgefire Cave. Now, granted, the Ornn signature equipments are actually pretty affordable at the moment because they have been printed to exhaustion, apparently. They're actually pretty easy to get a hands on, and unfortunately, Force Fire Cape is not even like the most meta of the lot, but it's still pretty good. And I think there are some calls for using it in the sideboard if you were to play Ornn. No one playing Ornn? Yeah, that's true. Ornn does have some issues with the current meta, I feel, that can be worked around, but he feels a little clunky. If he had just like one movement effect outside that purple usually gets, he would be a little stronger. But I think he has the potential there. I think it's just trying to get the deck list right and making sure that the signature equipment matches the meta. Because I feel, especially if we start getting a lot more Azirs and Victors, Sunfire Cape becomes one of the most obnoxious things that those decks can face. Because if you are a token reliant deck, having all of your stuff automatically take 2 damage every single time you try to swing into him, it really sucks. Really, really sucks. Bushwhack, Barrel Strength, Frigid Touch, Serrated Dirk, Lauret, Bladekeeper, Master Mingwen, Eye of Herald, Samian Ancestor. I think that's the first time I drew into that one. Blood Monkey, Mariah Spire, Foil Called Shot. Hell yes. Regular Ezreal, Altar of Memories. I haven't found a good way to break Altar of Memories yet. I kind of feel there's probably something there in combining Altar of Memories with Baited Hook. Because when the friendly unit dies, you may exhaust me to draw one, they put a card from your hand on top or bottom of your main deck. There's probably something there. There's probably some kind of engine you can build with Baited Hook and Altar of Memories. It's just that the meta is too fast right now for a 2-card setup in which you've burned 3 runes of probably 2 turns to not have board presence, right? Like, it's not that lenient, so to speak. But there might be something there. It's just like 1 or 2 things to really like solidify that list. Frigid Touch, Detonate, Royal Entourage, Bubblebot, Sandshifter, Laurent Bladekeeper, Overzealous Fan, Sunken Tempo, Battering Ram, Strike Down, Trove Golem, I got a lot of those. The regular Orange Fiora, not bad. Oh hey, the Alt Art Ezreal. My attack or defend deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit. There, I don't deal combat damage, but as an action, move me to your base. It is obnoxiously hard to kill Ezreal because as long as they have any blue runes and you try to fight him, they can. The moment you pass priority off to the Ezreal player, the Ezreal is no longer in combat. So actually, yeah, that's probably why Ezreal decks are actually doing okay in the current meta. Because if you're going to expect a predominantly Draven meta, you never need to actually fight Draven. You never need to actually. Well, no, wait. No, Draven still wins the encounter. Never mind. Draven actually still wins the encounter because you still have the combat. It's just that he wins the combat because Ezreal's no longer in base. You just save the Ezreal from losing. Specifically the Ezreal. Yeah, unfortunate. But still, being able to blink out at the end of your turn as well, it was really, really nice. Yeah, that's how you have to do it. Instead of leaving Ezreal to hold the point, you blink him out after fighting, such that you never actually give Draven a chance to win a battle. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you slap anything onto Ezreal, you give him plus anything, he just deals that much damage, and it's that much easier to kill whatever's on the battlefield. Like, you can't keep anything on a battlefield with equipped Ezreal as a threat. You need something to be able to either shove him out of the fight or kill him in base before he can get to you, or else he just runs rampant, as an ADC would, with 6 equipment late game. You know, just like in the game. Real Entourage, Gearhead, Blood Rush, Boolaroo Captain, Overzealous Fan, Royal Guard, Direwing, Hard Bargain. Oh, I need more of these. Prize of Progress, Fey Dragon. Ooh, a foil Mariah Spire. Ooh, a foil the Azir. Another Fire Below Mountain. I already have a couple of these. We have just 2 more packs to go. Now, granted, I'm already pretty happy with what I was drawn into. We have 2 all arts, we have 1 overnumbered, and we have a whole bunch of epics. So far so good. I'm not mad about this box at all. Forecaster. You know what? I should actually, instead of getting rid of my mod, I should at least move it over here. There we go. That's better. Armored assailant, feral strength, royal guard, booter captain, loyal pup, honest broker, prize of progress again, another BF sword. I definitely need more of those. Sudden storm, foil void hatchling, a Jax unmatch, which I don't have, and a Here to Help, which I do need. Here to Help is crazy good. You may play a unit from hand to a battlefield you control, reducing its cost by 3. So even really expensive stuff are suddenly playable on their turn. Hey, it's a Mind Rune! Nice. Man, if nothing else, Riftbound has some amazing foil texturing going on. That's just so nice. Yep. As Uzak said, last pack magic. One last chance. Add a signed card, right? Nah, it's probably not gonna be anything rare. But still, the overall card quality for Spirit Force has been a lot better. So I am pretty happy, and of course I've drawn into some pretty good shit. So I'm actually pretty happy with this overall box, even if I don't get signature. Eager Drakehound, Ribbon Dancer, Aspiring Engineer, Eminent Benefactor. Let me try to. There we go. Sea Monkey, Black Market Broker, Petricide Monument, Rally the Troops, Seat of Power, Foil Temporal Passage. Yes, Foil Marching Orders, Rumble Haunted, nice, and a Sand Soldier. All right, if nothing else, I've gone my overnumbered and a couple of critical cards for the meta, including, very happy to say, a Here to Help. Let me go ahead and get rid of the junk that's currently on my table. And we can get a proper shot of my hits. Honestly, anything with orange has a very good reason to play Here to Help, because if it turns any creature card pretty much in your hand into a plus bite buff for a particular fight. It also allows you to play something that's out of curve. Like that 3 cost reduction, just because you give up like 1 power to hide it, it's really worth it to play some stuff early. Especially if it's going to be like, let me see, if it was Lee Sin, could be like orange Lee Sin. With Fiora, literally anything that can trigger her might ability. Even Lucian can like sneak stuff in with it. All right, let's see. That was a comment. There's all the foils. I do want to eventually make a Rumble deck, just because I think like Skyfall Rumble is really fun. Orange lacks the card draw, so it's like give you up 1 card slot for some combat trick. I mean, like obviously, orange alone can't really sustain it, but Here to Help doesn't care about the color of the card it's reducing. So if you're playing this with Misfortune, for instance, you can Here to Help out a Mind Splitter on turn 3. And that's just a kick in your teeth. I mean, as long as you control a battlefield, right? You just like hide this card, flip it around, and said, "Guess how fucked you are today." March to Order is basically a supercharged challenge. Let's see. Of this slot, the most interesting cards are probably going to be, well, the foil. That's pretty good. Foil Call Shot is probably going to be worth a bit of money, to be quite honest. Oh, actually, the Janna is actually really worth it. So, here's the fun thing about, I think if you are playing green decks in the current meta, you probably want a set of Jannas. And the reason why for that is quite simple. If they try to run Purple Draven into your position and try to fight, and you play Janna, as a reaction, Draven can't win that fight anymore. Even if you lose the battlefield, at least they don't get the extra point. And they're probably not going to win that battle either, because it's still like 3 might for 3 power on reaction. That's a good deal. A good deal to just like force them off that battlefield. I think especially this is probably a critical card in making sure Ari works. Green Ari in particular. Like Janna specifically allows you to play hold strategies when the meta is all about avoiding the need to hold in the first place. So definitely a card to consider. Definitely, especially with the meta as is, a very, very interesting card to have. I'm wondering if the heal is useful in a situation I don't get a heal effect yet. Yes. There are a couple of situations where healing is very, very good. It's not uncommon for red decks in particular to be using things like Falling Star or what's the card I just pulled up? It's the not a centric spell for him, but definitely obviously intended to reflect Lucian. Piercing Light. So Piercing Light deals up to 4 damage to 2 creatures, right? 2 damage, then 2 damage, then possibly repeat. If that doesn't kill them and you Janna them, that heals up all of them, and now they're like whatever like cheap stuff they sent out to try to just wipe out the battlefield and make it easier to just retake the battlefield, suddenly finds itself facing a fully healed up army again, right? Because the damage that they try to soften you up with no longer apply. It's even better if they are still trying to run Warwick decks to deal damage to all of your stuff first, then send Warwick in to kill anything with damage on it. Now you can respond to Warwick now. You can't jam it in between repeats. You can't. Because repeat is a trigger is part of the card's resolution. So yeah, if they simply kill it outright, it doesn't help. But if they're using it to soften up a tougher target, it does help a lot. If they're trying to use the damage into Warwick effect to have Warwick automatically kill anything with damage, sending Janna out in response to Warwick means that there's nothing that's a viable target for Warwick's triggered effect, which kills Warwick instead. It's really, really nice. So it's a niche effect. And the heal effect is honestly less powerful than the move effect. But green itself struggles with being a weaker purple in a lot of ways. Having a way to bounce them off of fight instead is a really, really nice way to make up for the fact that green's movement options are overall kind of weaker. Azir's good. Piercing Light again is really, really good. Let's see. Ezreal is okay. Foil Frigid Touch is going to be worth something. Heart of Darkness is excellent. Orange speaks for himself. Overzealous Fan is going to be great. Under Titan has a row. Well, actually, does he? Yeah, kind of. Dravens. Unfortunately, needlessly large Yodel is not very good. Rek'Sai. Jay specifically has a role, kind of. Drag Under works really well with Rek'Sai. Lucian's good. Bard, unfortunately, is not very good at the moment. Just a poor fit. There's Gauge, Boy Drone. In niche situations, Akshan can be good. It gets another equipment deck. He's excellent. But these foils in particular are worth attention to. And then for the actual hits, not including the legends I pulled, although I pulled a decent amount of legends, not nearly as bad as others have been expressing. I think I heard somebody get like more than 10 legends in their box, which is obnoxious because legends immediately lose value as soon as you get 2 copies of something. Yeah, Untitled similar to Grand Stratagem for like token decks like Victor, absolutely. Along with being just like, if you need something to actually hold space, Under Titan's better in that way. Here to Help is just excellent. Mind Rune is a box hit. Signature, another alt. Very good. Money, baby. Just generally very good. Spare Wheel is... I need to find a way to break it. It's breakable. Zvelzonger is a hit. Zvelzonger is just excellent. There are so many things that are enabled by having Zvelzonger in your deck. Green is honestly eating pretty good. I think green may be a little underrated just because it's having a hard time fighting the pace set by Draven, and Kaisa, to be honest. But there are some real potentials because of what what's allowed to have. Downwell is a very, very interesting high cost card. Switcheroo and its Sacred Shears are just pure value. Spellsonger with Blue Ezreal. Spellsonger with Blue Ornn in particular, like, holy shit. Having multiple stacks of Spellsonger on Blue Ornn and trying to interact with that thing with a spell has to be the worst feeling ever. Just 1 brings you up to Deflect 4. 2 brings you up to Deflect 6. This is also very good. And Sivir speaks for itself. Not a bad box overall. Not a bad box. I'm going to take a picture of this, upload it to social media, etc., etc. I'm pretty happy with my hits. These are good hits, I feel. Now, is it the most valuable box ever? I still don't have a signature card. I've never opened a signature card in any game I've ever played. That remains elusive. That remains elusive. If I ever get another chance to open up more Spirit Forge, absolutely, because I feel like the Spirit Blossom alts in particular are the sexiest things in the world. Imagine having... Is this the box from the Riot merch shop? It is. It actually is. I pulled it from the lottery. I was lucky enough to make it through the lottery. And my friend is also holding onto a box of the Chinese release of the Lunar New Year box as well. So I'll be getting the fancy new Aurelia along with her sleeves. I might even choose to make a Aurelia deck because of that and be a meta hog, a meta hound. There's another word for it, but I don't want to use it because it's really rude. But Aurelia, especially the new Lunar New Year's Aurelia skin, so damn good. It's by far my favorite Aurelia skin, next to the one that makes her look like a pilot from like 1940s. So like the Aurelia with the propeller blades, the old school wooden propeller blades. That was just a really nice concept. That's also a really old skin, by the way. That probably like demonstrates my age as a League of Legends player, knowing that skin still exists. But yeah, happy overall. Let me see about packing. Go. All right. Let's see the box over here. And I really need to pull out the rest of the stuff that open from pre-rips and sort them as well, because otherwise it's just piles of cards everywhere, man. This hobby produces trash. The wrappers in particular. All right. Oh damn! I popped open a keyboard key. All right, there we go. All right. Let me see. I don't have anything planned next week yet. I'm going to ask around. Well, before I commit to anything, I'm going to try to finish some videos I have planned and get those finished up. I'm looking for some. I'm checking with some of my colleagues and friends for beta reading some of the videos I've been working on actually, but they haven't gone back to me yet because some of them are busy with the event that's been going on. Let me see. Yeah, rating 2 for that. What's Soul working on? Let's see what good Seal's working on. Those are some man titties. This is surprising. Let's see. I don't see Tubi and my friends streaming at the moment, and given that some of them are participating in District 5, that makes sense. They are resting up for the big event later this evening. Alright, take care, Zach. Yeah, I'll just send you all off to Seoul to enjoy some co-working stream with her. And enjoy the rest of your day while I take care of my mess of cards. Alright. Oh, no, can't read her. Never mind. Alright. Okay, in that case, I'll just send you off to Bluebell. Oh no, that's a sub-only channel stream. Never mind. Okay, let's look for somebody that's been doing. Damn. Okay. Yeah, everybody's kind of off today. Alright, never mind. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all later. I'll probably have a schedule up later this evening. Enjoy your Saturday. No, tomorrow evening maybe. Enjoy your Saturday while I figure out my plans for next week. And as always, my friends, eat well.